Good morning. It's that time again. Ooh, where should I stick myself? No, that's too big. No, that's gonna be where it's gonna be awkward if I were to put myself, because your place goes here, but your teammates go here. It's like if I go straight here, I might miss stuff, and I'll just go here for now, and we'll see how it goes. First thing I'm gonna do is turn it down. Yeah. That'll do. But this is Team Sonic Racing. This is what I've decided to pick for my birthday stream. We might do other stuff as the day goes on. It honestly depends how it goes. But I genuinely really love this game, and I was like, you know what, this would be a fun game to go for. And then if there's other people online, there it gives you know, availability. So basically, if you hop in and chat and you have this, you just let me know and we can hop in and do something. But to open up with, I might do some Team Adventure stuff, because Team Adventure's pretty... Like, I've done the whole game on normal. Like, as in, like, 100% done it all. But I still need to do the hard mode playthrough. And it's like, I might give that a go at some point, even though I don't have much faith. But I thought to start with, we would do a Grand Prix of every race to show off all the base tracks. And I'll do it on Expert. The reason why I'm saying, yeah, we'll do it on Expert, but I'm hesitant about doing hard and story mode, it's because there's far more race cars on the track, and when it's expert, like in, you know, say Mario Kart, the harder difficulty, the faster the speed. When there's so many cars on the road, sometimes it works in your favor to be a higher speed, because then the AI bumps into things more. My boy that I always play as is Tails. There's the stats if you're curious. Ooh, what should I take as a bonus? It'll only be for the first race. Do a faster charge on the ult. And I don't know what my teammates will be. Your teammates are picked at random, it seems, when you do Grand Prix mode. When you're in the story, you have like your preset teams and functions. The music in this game is so fun. But you have your own like select preset teams and whatnot for the story mode. Like if you pick a Sonic, you'll always have Tails and Knuckles as your teammates. But when it's just Grand Prix, it's a little bit more all over the place. Time to race. Shadow, Omega, and then us. Okay, so we've still got our speed and power type. And I'm glad we've got Omega and Shadow. Like, of all the two we could get, that's kind of cool. Some of the other team-ups. Zavok, Vector, and Metal Sonic. Rouge, Chow and Sonic. Eggman, Amy and Silver. Oh, jeez. The main thing with Team Sonic Racing, as the name implies, is that it's a team racer. You got all your it's a kart racer like Mario Kart, so you've got all the usuals that you would expect in that regard. But you're worrying about your whole team sort of thing. And whoever's the first in your team leaves a trail, a slipstream trail, so that you can use. If you're going faster than your teammate when you pass them by, they will get a slight speed boost for the trouble. So it's actually in your best interest to try and constantly go fast and then kind of like love tap your teammates. And you can do tricks of jumps by flicking the right stick. That's the same from all the Sega racers. Oh, damn it. Thank you. Yeah, sure, I'm far enough ahead that I can do this. And maybe screw someone over. They used wisps for the power-up, whilst in your Sega and All-Stars, you know, the better Sega and All-Stars Racing Transformed, they actually have like their own like creative set of power-ups. Rocket is green shell, you just shoot it straight forward. Eagle is red shell, it locks on. Cube is the banana peel. Alright, let's just team ult then if you're going to attack. Try and get Omega out of dead last, because there's 12 positions. What the fuck? Omega, please. What else is there? Like Hot Rod, you leave like a fire trail behind you. The invincibility box is just, you know, like when you get a star, but it always looks like an invincibility box. You can always see it. I can't remember if rings affect your top speed, sort of like how the coins do in Mario Kart. I think it's more that you don't get stunned out as much if you hit an obstacle. There's no blue shell in this game. Instead, they have Quake, where Quake puts up a bunch of obstacles that only the player 1 can see. So there's a bit more fairness to it because you can try and avoid it. Oh, Omega, you only got as far up as 8th. But you see what I mean? Because even though we were playing on Expert, we didn't really do that bad. It's because I said there's so many races on the track that it gets a little bit, like, crazy. Oh god, Daredevil Challenges. I'm glad I don't have to do them again. There is a way of doing it that is kind of manageable, and I might show it just like for people that are curious, but there is an easier way of doing it. Because the idea is that you get bonus points if you drift round the poles, and a lot of people will try and make it so they're drifting for the whole thing. Don't. Drive normally, aim straight at the red, and just tap the brake as you go through it, and you'll count as a drift. Our next track is Ocean View. Big racing. There's no time to look around.
Alright, let's get...
This is a returning track that's in like every Sega racer. This one always shows up. Actually, no, I take that back. This was unique to Racing All-Stars Transformed. This wasn't in the original. I'm thinking of a different track that will be in a later one. That's in like every single one. So even if there's little hops like that, as long as you land on your wheels, you're fine. There's a split in the path here. Left is quicker, right as items. So whilst it's on that first round, the boombox is literally the bomb. You either throw it in front of you or leave it behind you, but it's literally the bomb. Sorry, Silver. I love Silver's characterization in this game. They made him kind of dorky. I love that this is a the soundtrack of this game as a whole is fantastic, but I love that it's a two-piece remix. This track, whereas like half of it is Supersonic Racing, the other half is Toot Toot Sonic Warrior from CD. The only thing you can't do in this game, like compared to Mario Kart, is that you can't have items hanging off behind you as defense. Tragically. This is the equivalent of, oh, I forget what it's called, like the splodge one. Where like it's like it inks your screen. The blooper, that was it. But it's music notes instead, and it muffles the music while it's at it. I see now Omega's doing well, but what the fuck's going on with Shadow? Look at the map on the right. Also, do you see what I mean? Whilst I said I really wasn't sure where to put my thing. With my face cam for this. Please, someone take... Well, both of you need to use your ability. Phew! Yeah. We did alright. Everyone else, though. Well, Omega got third, at least. But Shadow was dead last. Jesus Christ. See, like Team 2, the green team are catching up because of that difference. Because your point is on your place and it affects the whole team. So I could be first every race, but my teammates are like super far behind. Yeah. And we didn't even get a team like at all during that. I know it was a shorter racetrack. And because we're on Expert, we move quicker. But still. Oh, I love Roulette Road's music. Yeah, this soundtrack was a collaborative effort of a lot of people. Like, they had Jun Sonoe do a lot of it, which you might recognize as like the Crush 40 electric guitarist that did all the adventure and like 3D titles. But they had T. Lopes from Mania in here. They had Hyper Potions involved, who did all like the trailer music. Oh shit, I fucked up the boost. Like, they had like a bunch of like third parties as well. Like, they got anyone who was up for making Sonic music, they kind of got involved in this. Like, the soundtrack's one of the best parts of this game. But the way the team mechanics work is that you can share your power-ups with your teammates, and whoever's first leaves this slipstream trail for you to boost on. If you buddy up more and more often, you'll eventually get the team ult, which used to like be more of its own thing, but they've nerfed the crap out of it in team, and it's just like a universal boost no matter who it is. Like, it used to be something different for every character, and now it doesn't.
Sorry, Sonic, but I'm in it to win it.
The Tails. But the racetrack, the art style, the gameplay, especially on the harder difficulties where, you know, the pace goes up, it's all really enjoyable. It's just a shame. The biggest thing that ended up making this game fall apart, because as you may know, its servers don't exist. It's because the online servers are terrible. As in, there aren't any proper server matchmaking. When you're trying to do matchmaking, the way it works. Sorry, I'm just. Oh no, I'll use Mac on my team.
Even by my standards.
The way it works is that it's old room lobbies. There's no actual like dedicated server to quick match people. And because of that, it became difficult to get a match. And once it started to drop off, it died. It became near impossible to find matches. So I won't, unfortunately, be doing any multiplayer race because no one's online because you have to set up a room and pray.
Anyone? Can I be of assistance?
I won't forget this.
Good, I'm glad, Shadow. When I was doing a bit of practice yesterday, I got Silver as my teammate a lot. I'm hoping that happens because Silver was alright. Oh, here's Quake. This is what I mean. This is the equivalent of the blue shell. It just puts a bunch of obstacles in front of you, and you have to try and avoid them. So there is a chance. It's just it's very difficult, especially if the placement's in like a tight corridor. Oh, I think I did hit someone. And on the left, it will always show you where it stands now, who's going to be getting the most points. So right now it says we will, and especially with this will help a lot. So last time we didn't get any, this time we get 2. So now we're going to push way up, especially because green team, the ones that are right on our tail, did really poorly in that race. And red team is, oh. So now we can proper push up. And we're probably comfortable now, but, you know, just be on the safe side. We'll still give it all in this one. 4 races per Grand Prix, you know, just like any kart racer. Annoyingly, though, the final 3 racetracks that you unlock in the story mode aren't attached to any Grand Prix. So we'll be doing just solo races for them when we get to them, just to show them off. But yeah, all 3 of the last 3 racetracks aren't in any Grand Prix. But it's time for Boo's House, which has a really sick remix of Sandopolis. You can already hear a glimpse of it. It's such a fantastic track. I don't know what track in this soundtrack is my favourite, but this one is right up there. Oh, Momega's in lead. Okay. I can't wait for Sonic Origins. Even if it's Sandopolis. I can't wait for Origins to go through Sonic 3 and such again. Nice. So I think you can land a double off that. You can. Ah, I got too greedy. A shortcut here, just on the 3rd one. And the reason why they encourage you to do the team swaps more often is that there's certain power-ups only technical characters can get, some power-ups only speed characters can get, and some things that only power characters can get. Oh, Omega got hit by something then. I think it's I want to say Bingo Party is like one of my favourite tracks. Although this one's amazing, this one's up there. I'm just trying to think of like what tracks I really love in this game. Okay, Omega's getting real beat up with these last. I heard that, Rouge. Hot stuff coming through. Hello, King Boom Boo. Oh, fuck. Nice. And see, there, because it's a much wider arena, we had more opportunity to kind of circumvent it and save our neck. Bow, bow. Down, down. Down, down, down. Even if I'm not playing as Tails, I tend to stick to the technical characters more because it's a nice middle ground. They control easier. Oh fuck, this is gonna hurt. Yep. At least they give you a warning, but yep, the group shock exists in this game as well. You have to be like right at the back of the pack to get it though. Oof, Shadow. So I am sorry if you can hear the construction. It's the neighbour being a prick again. Because one of the things that he's explicitly not allowed to do is make a cellar, like a basement, and like that's I'm going with guarantee the amount of concrete that he's got there. That's exactly what he's doing. Screw it. I'll go for the quicker route. Wall versus robot, wall wins. Oh no, Omega. What place did they get? 5th and 6th. It auto generates. Essentially, the way that it works to keep a move on, the moment you pass the finish line, whatever position everyone else is in is the position they get. So you have to be careful sometimes. Like the characters, like one is like in 12th. It doesn't matter if they're like neck and neck with 11th. If you cross the line, it will lock in their 12th. Which makes a couple of the challenge races in story mode annoying, because you'll have like, because it'll be like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, but Knuckles is dead last, so you have to play as Knuckles to try and make sure you drag him up. And you don't get any kind of like a reward ceremony either. It's just, yep, you're done, move on. So we'll go on to the second one, which is Whale Lagoon, Mother's Canyon, Pinball Highway, and Hidden Volcano. Oh, Bingo Pie's in the third tournament. Okay. Okay, that bottom side is speed. I couldn't see it. Just in case we get, like, you know, a power-up unique to speed, I'll try Shadow for a bit. And I might do one as power. My usual go-to is Tails. And if his Sonic Riders ever ends up on the backwards compatibility list, Tails is my main in that as well. Because the speed types and the flight type characters in Riders are really good. This is the racetrack I was thinking of. That's been in every single Sega racing game. Oh, whoops. And even though like, I'm not like the biggest Sonic Heroes person, I really hope that ends up on the backwards compatibility list as well. I'd love to give it another a fair shot. So I mentioned it before, the reason why I kind of don't go back to it on my PS2 is because the disc is scratched, and so there's a lot of inconsistencies with it. And I know I could just get another copy, but it's like I want to see if it does end up on this list. Aha, I just absorbed that, I'm pretty sure. Oh Jesus, yeah, I forgot speed type's kind of unruly to control sometimes. Oh, we got big and omega. We got 2 power. Okay, this is going to be working against us. We got 2 slow pokes from our randomizer. I didn't even pay attention to that. Yikes. Yeah, they're literally like trailing behind. Like, yikes. I might even try and re-roll. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to re-roll. I'll keep Shadow for the sake of him a chance, but I'm going to re-roll because that was awful teammate selection.
Let's go. I'm eager to win this.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, if you transfer wisps, there's a chance you get a triple of them instead. Which is what the game encourages. It says the acceptance, whatnot. There's some of them that you can. The only way to get like triple green shells or triple red shells is to trade them. Alright, Sonic. Okay, so speed, power. Okay, 2 speeds and a power. That. Fuck, I can't. Why am I not being able to. I did it. The first racetrack I did it. All the rest I haven't been consistent.
The ultimate light form needs to pass. Ready to give me a boost?
I was gonna say, yeah, that's gonna be a catastrophe if I drop a bomb in the middle of all this. I might hit someone if I'm lucky. I don't know. I think. Ow! Oh, he's got spikes. That's your like shield power up. That's why the game's like warning me so much. It's like, oh, and the dude with like doom spikes is right there. Careful. Ooh, triple red. Every now and then it says rival takedown. Rival is people that are like in the very next position on the table. So it's like where we were in, like we're dead last. Jesus Christ, we need to pick this up. We were.
Ultimate! It doesn't get better than this!
Bit of all hail Shadow. Oh shit! Be careful with your speed boost on the edges. The general trick that kind of helps out a lot and continues to build up. Oh, there's a quake coming. Ah, never mind. I'll try to see if I can squeeze through it. I'm so far ahead, it doesn't matter too much. And I wasted a rocket to give you a bit of breathing room. I just need to finish. Yeah, it was like before Zavok overtook me, I just needed to finish. Because the rest of Zavok's team, Jesus Christ, Zavok, he pushed for the attack, didn't he? I kind of feel bad for Green Team. Look, it's power, power, and power. Oh, jeez. But yeah, I bring it up a lot, but it's like genuinely my favorite racing game of the lot, and one of my all-time favorites is the Sega Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. And the fact that they didn't continue the transformed formula and instead grounded it to just Sonic characters and did the team thing. Like, this is still a fun game, and I still probably prefer over the original Sega All-Stars Racing. But it was just like, oh, Transformed was so fun. And I still hope that gets remastered at some point. Sonic, please, get into Vector's lane. Ooh, yeah, I knew I was kind of ambitious. Nice. If you hit a rival, though, I never explained that. If you hit a rival, you get more of like the team boost than normal. Now, when I first saw this track, I thought, oh, look, the Spirit Road and whatnot, they can make the track slightly different each lap. No, that's another thing that I missed from All Stars Racing Transformed. Part of the reason why it was called Transformed wasn't just because your vehicle transformed, it's because the racetracks themselves transform between laps. And it was always really fun to have like a racetrack where like when you get to the second lap and the road actually breaks away and you like fall into a river or something, and that's lap 2. If you get able to go too in, if you touch those springs, they'll fire you straight off the edge.
That's my speed. Great job. I'm gonna feel bad in the morning. Easy. I'm lining up for my food.
Be able not to overflip. If you go absolutely crazy and just wherever, your character can lose their bearings, and that will also count as losing the boost. I'm not kidding, that's a thing. Wait till I'm on a straight and do it.
Ultimate. It doesn't get better than this. I've had better days. I have to this whiskey.
We just give each other this? Oh, just guys. Oh, there's a quake coming.
We'll get that back and more, Silver.
Oh, there's a laser you saw in there. You saw that little beam that go through. That was someone using laser. Yeah. Oh, Sonic, you missed the opportunity to see that, even without wings, I can still fly from Riders. Oh, well. I think that's my biggest hope with Frontiers. Just to have good, like, and enjoyable writing. Like, I'm not going to say, like, it was always the best writing, but just enjoyable. Because I don't enjoy, like, the hope of, like, pun-heavy, has to be a quick every 5 seconds approach that have been in, like, the whole Colors era of Sonic. Like, Generations was okay with it, but, like, all the rest, it was just like, ugh. And I feel like it even got worse. Like, Colors, like, the jokes weren't funny. At least to me. Like, I found them really annoying. I know it's because they were aiming for a younger audience, but still. But in Lost World, like, it was not only bad jokes, but bad writing. And then you get the Forces, it's like, it's not only bad jokes and bad writing, but it's bad everything. You're like, ugh. Like, I just want to put more love and care put into it. After the Dark Era, where there was so much, regardless of its quality, so much effort put into every single story to make it, like, big and grand and have character growth and development. So even though they weren't perfect, they were so much better than what we get now in the Colors era. Ooh, a bit of Pinball Highway. Okay, yeah, I remember this racetrack. This one's got the giant bit at the end, right? I think. Alright, I hit it, finally. Oh, someone's got a Void, damn it. Void, just absorb everything mode. It's Shadow. Funny if he said the Shadow the Hedgehog game line. And it went, this guy, seeing it from afar. Have I seen this before? Another line that people dunk on, because it kind of sounds stupid when you think about it. This is the open space I was talking about, where you can kind of just go wherever. And mind the ball. Oh, the whole squad's here. I'm just going to drop this behind. Oh, I meant to drop that behind. Oh, I hit Shadow. I hit Blaze anyway. Who's now voiced by Erica Lindbeck. You might recognise as Futaba. Or Margie Lou if you're in the Tales of Berseria. Or Jessie in the 7 remake. I think she's perfect as Blaze. As much as I prefer like the more regal tone that the original actress had, I think this is still great. Right, we're holding top 3 right this second. Well, I am. Look, I'm looking at the map again. There's always a big gap between me and Xenoverse.
Thanks for the heads up, buddy.
You mind, this is on experts. Because they get stuck on walls and whatnot. There's so many of them, it ends up becoming easier for you. Plus, when I go to the story mode stuff, I'll do it on hard. It'll be like we'll be fighting for our life bars. Oh, there's another quake coming. God damn it! Alright, that wasn't too bad.
Man, that's embarrassing.
What happened to Sonic? Did he just hit a wall or something?
Someone take this risk.
Oh, okay. I thought that lip would have a little bit more oomph. Ow, fuck! Sonic, that was your fault! I probably wouldn't have hit that if he wasn't there to get in my way.
So this is what it feels like to fly.
Just free firing them backwards, you never know. Sonic got stuck on. Oh god, the whole competition's behind him now. Because he got stuck on something. I just saw on the map that everything just gained on him. Oh jeez, is that another fucking quake? Every character has, as you've been able to hear, has their own ultimate theme. Some of them are really fun, but they have Team Chaotix just without the lyrics for Vector. They have Villanova but without the voice for Blaze. A lot of, if there's any vocals, the vocals are gone. It's just instrumentals, but still. Like Knuckles gets his theme from Adventure 1. Eggman gets I am the Eggman, that's what I am, just without the lyrics. He goes bam bam dun dun. Rouge gets some spy facility for Security Gate, or like a remix of that instead. I was like, what? Why not just play her theme? I think Amy gets her hero's theme, not her Adventure 1. Oh, Hidden Volcano, this is a fun track. I suppose this track's the equivalent of like what the Bowser Castle levels, because you got the big guy. Okay, right, bad start. I'm now 5th. This has got the big guy trying to punch in the road, and there's several obstacles, but you know, not the evil turns. Sorry, Silver. You've been dunked on hard enough, especially by Shadow in the game. I mentioned it on my Twitter. But it is something that I genuinely hope happens at some point. I want Silver to get another chance in a game, in a mainline game. I want him to be playable in a game and have like a decent amount of growth and effort. Because I think he could have genuinely been fantastic if 06 wasn't, you know, his first rodeo. Effectively killing him and making people hate him because of his boss fight. Even though his boss fight's really not that bad. You listen out for a voice cue, you jump in and attack, you hit him every time. It's really not that bad. It's just, you know, especially didn't help with the game it came from. What happened to me?
I have no use for this risk.
So I got knocked back. It literally like just slid me off backwards. Jesus Christ! I need another team ult and bad. There's no Bullet Bill-esque power up in this. It's only the team ults that's the closest to it. Get out of here. Damn it.
Perfect.
Oh, there is a team ult coming our way, so it would be nice if we could get it too. Did Chow's get Chow Race? Like from I think it's the Adventure 2 like Chow Race theme. Well, there's a nice little reference to Boom there, where he goes, "Love me some bounce pad," because you heard in Sonic Boom, the Wii U games, like the most common line was bounce pad. There's a lot of references here, even if I was just complaining earlier about there not being enough. Because yeah, there's never enough.
I have no use for this wrist.
Please someone take it. Damn it. Oh Jesus.
I have no use for this wrist.
I'll get you, Tails.
Let's go ultimate on these guys.
Let's go. And try not to fly off the edge. Goodbye. Alright.
Just got passed by an ultimate.
And there goes our ult immediately. And I went off again because the steering was too stiff. I couldn't alter it enough.
This team is playing to win, guys.
Start over.
Jesus, Vector. 11th.
Undignified, but efficient.
Just get me through. Oh, damn it. I was trying to see if I could screw him over as we get to the line.
You guys did better than I expected.
Nice. No, let's never play as that again. We needed a technical character in there. Down. Ice Mountain, Dr. Mine, Bingo, and Market Street. Oh, and Silver, my boy. I was just saying earlier that it's a shame you don't get games, so let's make it so you get one. Let's play as him. Sure, we'll use laser, because we'll be at the back of the pack anyway, so it'll be like a free damage. Rouge, okay. So two technique. Okay, so it's a triple trouble of no, I think Chow's power. No, they are techniques. So you got 3 techs. Anyway, laser beam.
You wish you'd never challenged us. Whoa, Silver.
Oh yeah, that was kind of bad. I didn't realize the edge was right there. Whoops. I'm kind of bad with Vector now. And I like what they did with this. They made it a mixture of Cool Edge from Unleashed with Reach from the Stars. An interesting combination, but it works. Which makes me really miss Unleashed. I know a lot of people, not everyone was on board with the Werehog with Unleashed, but as someone who was, it just made the longest Sonic game in the series fantastic for me. And I was saying in the previous stream that there's no way that Sega are going to ignore the fact that a lot of people genuinely brought Series X's to play unleashed at 60 frames. There's no way they're not aware of that and are probably going to work on something. How long it'll take for that to come together? Who knows? I hope they take their time if they do decide to do it. I love that it's fucking Dreams of an Absolution for Silver's theme. Such a fantastic theme. And I look, it's only like the only saving grace really that Silver's got because of his, you know, misfortune of being in 06 and never getting like his own games or like being playable in another one after it, sort of thing. They've never given him a new theme. He's always had Dreams of an Absolution, and I think it kind of works. Like I can't think of him having any other track as his theme song anymore. If you get beat up more and more. Hun? Is it Rouge? I'm really curious if Rouge will ever show up in one of the Sonic films. So I think she won't. I think Paramount will take one look at Rouge's design and go, nah. Because she was always, even in Adventure 2, everyone kind of went, what the fuck? But at the same time, it would be weird to have Shadow without the rest of the found family. Like, I get like it's going to be like the Shadow film next time, but if they do something more, they might have Rouge and Omega. But it will be weird to not have the rest of the family, you know? It'll just be Shadow again, like back in SA2. Or even he kind of had Rouge, but Rouge was a little bit more distrustful of him. Nice. But yeah, it's one of the, it's the one like stand or take I'll always like kind of stand on, and buy and wish for. I wish Silver got another chance. Because he was supposed to be, because Sonic 06 was supposed to effectively be Sonic Adventure 3. And so like with Adventure 2, we introduced a new Hedgehog, and you know, in what would have been Adventure 3, or now Sonic 06, it was Silver. And if Silver got the same treatment Shadow did, happy birthday, cheers dude. I'm 23 today. Ugh. But if Silver got the same treatment Shadow did after SA2, as in like, he got to be in like another game as playable character, maybe got his own spin-off, I think a lot of people would love this this optimistic, sort of naive oddball that with psychic powers that is Silver. It's just if he got another chance that, you know, wasn't just Sonic 06, we could have had something. But as it stands, I think he's always been. I think he's just forever going to be relegated to side character. I think only Sonic and maybe Shadow are the hedgehogs that get me playable. I don't even know if Tails and Knuckles are really like on the table anymore for a main Sonic game to be playable. I'd like to hope they are, but who knows what modern Sonic team's thinking. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, hello. I'm second from last, Jesus. Ooh, yes, they can all take that. Yeah, now you can't see anything. Let's try and catch up a little bit. Get a bit more Dreams of the Absolution. Oh god, there's another all-star coming right for us now. Okay, they just ran out, thank god. Game is chaotic as hell, so erase it. What helps is that I'm playing on expert mode, and in a lot of kart races, if you up the difficulty, it ups the general game speed as well. So if I was playing on normal, we wouldn't be driving as fast. It's like in like Mario Kart, where it's like they base their difficulty literally off the speed of the vehicle. So you play it on 150cc, like that's hard mode. And that's basically what I'm doing here. Just instead of it being 50, 100, or 150, they rank it as normal, hard, and expert. And I'm playing on expert, so it does get a bit crazier. And because of the team systems and mechanics, we have to worry about our teammates as well. Like, I'm in the top left in terms of like where I am on the ratings, since like it says Silver first. But in the bottom left, my face cam's kind of covering it. That, I believe, is Rouge, okay. and she's like falling behind a little bit, and then in 6th on the bottom right is Omochao. We're a team, so we can trade items. The game in general can be kind of crazy, don't get me wrong. It's just, you know, where we're on expert mode, it gets accelerated a little bit more. But I find it super fun when it does that. It's what makes... Okay, I didn't have anything on me. Fucking that Void Wisp was trying to steal something from me. Oh shit. Yeah, be careful about flipping out like that though. Okay. There we go. Alright, it's alright. We're just going to lose our position. It's fine. And like, there's a story mode to this game, and in the story mode, they start you off simple. Like, they'll start you off with, like, you versus only, like, another team. So there's only 6 people in the race, and it will slowly start building it up. So it does warm you up to it. The only big downside to it, and I said it at the start of the stream, is, this game's matchmaking system is horrendous. So horrendous, in fact, that the multiplayer is straight up dead. Because there's no quick join. It's all, like, traditional. You have to set up a room and invite people in, or then make the room open and hope people just join in. Like, there's no quick join or, like, server lobby setup. And because of that, people hopped off it very fucking quick. Because they just... sometimes you'd be waiting forever for someone to set up a room. Or you'd set up one yourself and be waiting for for it to happen. Which is a grand shame. It was let down by its matchmaking system. If they got that sorted and made it so it was like a server-based setup, I think this game would have been great. Like, as I say, it is great. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would have been able to stand on its own 2 feet a lot longer. But as it stands, a lot of people just went, oh, that's what happens when you make your own version of Mario Kart. It's like, no, a lot of people liked this game and what it did different. It's just the matchmaking was shit, and they never fixed it or addressed it, so they just let this game die. But the idea that, like, if you play, you could get it, like, so I'm starting with this with a laser, that you could get power-up so you can literally start the match to give yourself a different heads-up. Or make it that if you do, like, the team boost, it lasts longer for your team only. So there's, like, outward competition and reason to keep playing, because you could get stuff to give you a head start in different ways. And at the same time, you know, genuine... Oh, shit. Okay, we're going to go on this way. Having great racetracks that are really fun, with amazing music. All remixes done by, like, Jun Sonoye, T-Lopes, Hyper Potions, like, a lot of, like, really prolific figures in the music industry for gaming. Like, they had some great talent in on this. Like, T-Lopes did the entire soundtrack for Sonic Mania, for example. Jun Sonoye is the lead guitarist of Crush 40, who basically... Crush 40 did, the music of every Sonic game from, like, Adventure to Black Knight. So, like, from 99 to 09. And then Hyper Potions do a lot of the trailer music for any Sonic games. Yeah, the map design's rad. I love the map design in this game. I like the themings. I like how they dip the ideas. I like how they just casually have you driving on walls in the ceiling all the time, so you learn to just stop questioning what's the floor. Oh shit. Hey, get back here. So it's not my favourite of the Sega races. My favourite is still Sega and Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. And I think it always will be, because that game is a fucking riot. That game is insane, because that one is, oh shit. Ah, nearly perfect. Is that game, the racetrack changes in between laps. Like, walls will break down or break open, like, the floor will crumble away. Sometimes there straight up isn't a track, and things like that. And because it's called transformed, your vehicle can transform. So it's like, sometimes there's no road, and you just, like, fall into a cavern, and your boat, and your car turns into a boat. Or, like, you'll go to, like, the Skies of Arcadia theme track, and you're flying for, like, the first 2 laps, and on the last one, like, some rocks merge together to make a racetrack, so you finally land and do a race for a lap. Better than be... Also, that sounds super cool. It better be what Waluigi Pinball looks like if they add it to MK8. But, dude, I hope so. I hope so. It better be fucking bonkers. And yeah, so All-Stars Racing Transformed, it was a late-ish PS3 360 game that unfortunately didn't get ported up, because it was like it was after Generations, so I think it was like 2012. I think it was 2012 it came out, so it was like super late PS3 360, and unfortunately I think it kind of stayed there. I think it's on Steam, but I don't have a PC that's really half decent, so I can't really say for sure because I haven't checked, but I think it's on Steam, and it's genuinely great fun. And because, you know, it's Sega and Sonic All-Stars, they have characters from the entire Sega franchise and not just, you know, Sonic characters. And it allowed them to be a lot more expressive with the racetracks. Because like I said, you'd go to Skies of Arcadia, you'd go to Space Harrier, you'd go to Knights. You know, like, they had a bunch of like really cool themed racetracks. So Team Sonic Racing, like, I say it like I'm criticizing this, but it narrows it down to just Sonic. As in, it's still fine, it's still really fun, and I still think it's like the second best Sonic racer that they've made, especially Sumo Digital's second best work. It's just I had that little bit of bias from the absolute anarchy that was Racing Transformed. That game was, like, the only way to describe it, that game was insane. I looked like it is on Steam. Yeah, I would recommend it, I really would. If you want a crazy kart racer that's like genuinely completely fucking bonkers, like, that game's great. As in, that one, it worked. The only thing that's kind of different compared to this is that they make the difficulty work slightly different in All-Stars. Like in this, like I said, it's normal, hard, or expert, and it affects speed and AI. So like the harder the difficulty, the faster everything goes. And although it's the same sort of formula in All-Stars Racing Transformed, they make the difficulty based on like a star rating instead. So it'll be like 1 star is easy, 2 is normal, 3 is hard, 4 stars is expert, that sort of idea. With the more stars you stack on, the harder it gets, but the faster all the vehicles get. And they have their story mode work pretty different than it does on this. In this, you have challenges during the race that you need to do to get like extra points to unlock more levels. In All-Stars, they work it as in those stars in the difficulty are the things you need to unlock more levels. So eventually there will be a point where you have to go back and play older races on harder difficulties to get more stars. That game also has a really funny announcer. Like they don't mean make it it's funny, it just becomes funny. Because they have an announcer that'll comment on everything you do. And when you're playing, and there's a volume setting for him, so if he gets annoying, you can shut him off. But he comments on everything, and sometimes you kind of sit there and go, alright, dude. And he ends up becoming funny, even though it probably wasn't the intention. And I hope it gets a remaster at some point. I genuinely do. Because I think, especially because with this DLC with Mario Kart 8, I almost feel like that's a complete guarantee that Mario Kart 9 isn't anytime soon. Like, maybe it had like the Street Fighter 6 thing where like the next Mario Kart's going through troubled development, so they decided to do this DLC season to buy the time for the older game. But it does seem like MK9 is forever away, so the whole time it's far away, I feel like everyone else should be trying to dump on the opportunity. So yeah, like, port Track Racing Transform the newer tech, you know? Especially, like, because I was saying this in an older stream, it's like, uh-oh, we're about to get left shocked. Okay, we was in mid-jump, so he kind of let us have it. After the Sonic film, you know, broke like $350 million, there's no reason for Sega to not milk that for what it's worth and just port a bunch of Sonic games all at once to modern platforms. Want it to be well worth the wait? Yeah, I do. I hope they take their time with 9. The only thing I worry about is that Sega always have this thing where every new Mario Kart has to have something brand new and innovative to it. And it's like, there's a part of me that feels like they don't need to do that. You know? I feel like what makes the Mario Kart games work are the tracks and the abilities, like the tools. I don't want it to suddenly be like, you know, like yet another new mechanic. Like the whole wall riding thing was kind of appreciated because it didn't feel like too much of a step. Like it didn't feel like too much of like a big difference from how it was. Or like when they introduced gliding, however many Mario Karts ago, that was fine. It fit with the track. But it's like I'd rather it just be more, I don't know, like pure-blooded. I agree. Yeah. So I'd rather it be more pure-blooded and just be like a straight-up Mario Kart that just has a shit ton of tracks, a bunch of tricks and tools with the weaponry, loads and loads of characters to pick from, and loads of vehicle options to go with. So it's like, so you could be super expressive in that way. But instead, I don't know if it's been confirmed or what, but from what I was rumored a while ago, apparently they are. The reason why it's taking so long is that they are like looking into adding new mechanics and whatnot. New mechanics are cool, but I like the older games because of how genuine they were. Yeah, I agree, dude. I say that I was very young, but I remember enjoying a lot of the one on N64 when I was a kid, and I enjoyed the one on the Wii a hell of a lot. But I was like, that was kind of my limit, because when I was a kid, I didn't go to the GameCube, I went to the PlayStation 2, so I ended up avoiding Double Dash, unfortunately, the one that everyone tells me is the best one. And I didn't get the one on, I think it was the 3DS one with 7, I didn't get that either, I just wasn't interested when I was on my 3DS. I was very much in my RPG binge when when I had my 3DS. Like I was playing Bravely Default or Shin Megami Tensei 4, things like that. Who should I play as this time? Eggman being a technique type is ridiculous, considering he's been a power type in all the games. You know what, screw it.
Come on, clock's ticking.
Sometimes got like new mechanics as less track, yeah, because it absorbs development time and budget to make all these new systems and mechanics. And sometimes it is like I would rather it be have the gameplay be more plain sailing for a bit more content. Like it's hard to find a balance, because if you make it too plain and boring, it doesn't matter how good the racetracks are, no one's interested. But if you go so over the top of the mechanics, you get Sonic Riders. And it's like, I love Sonic Riders, but Sonic Riders didn't do that well because the level of entry is so insanely high, because it's so fucking front-loading with mechanics that you have to learn to stand a chance, that it's extremely intimidating and people didn't bother. Like, I love Sonic Riders, but holy shit, anytime I'm like, I have friends around or whatever, it's not the racing game I put in front of them, because I was like, I know they're not going to get it and they're not going to enjoy it because it's so front-loaded with mechanics. Like, it's hard to find a balance. But that's why, like, for me at least, I felt that All Stars Racing Transformed, to go back to that and like singing its praises again, I think that did it all right. Because there were a healthy amount of tracks, and what helped is, it was the second racing game that Sumo did, to kind of like exaggerate the amount of courses in the game. Every single racetrack from the first game, the first racing game they did, came back for Transformed. So they made a bunch of new tracks, but then they just ported over every single old track. So suddenly they could mess around with the mechanics a little bit more and be a little bit more expressive, while at the same time not having to worry about making a shit ton of new tracks, because there were already a whole bunch from the old one. So games with the balance of my absolute faith. Yeah, I get that. Because you don't want it to be like plain simple, because it's just a party game for kids then. It's like only like the 6-year-olds will enjoy it for like maybe like the spectacle, but anyone older than that, you're not interested. You just switch off. So I get it, they have their audience, obviously, you know, kids are an easy market. But on the other side of it, so as much as I love Riders, and like if it's added on the back compatibility list, I'm absolutely going to do a stream or two on Riders. That game is on the polar opposite. It's extremely difficult to approach for anyone because the learning curve is so steep. But then to be fair, I think a lot of Riders 1's issues would have been solved if they just had a decent tutorial. That game's tutorial, and I can say this because I, although not anymore, I used to do some of like the more like local tournaments of Riders, so I know this from experience of being really good at it. The tutorial is straight up tells you inaccurate information about how the game works. They straight up tell you the wrong information about how some of the mechanics work. So if you follow them, you're already at a disadvantage compared to people that understand them. Because it tells you to get the best jump, you have to tap the jump button at the closest point of a ramp. No, that's not true. You won't get any jump at all if you do that. To get the best jump, you have to hold the jump button down on the build-up to it, and then release it as close to the tip as possible, because your charge up is what makes the jump. And depending on which direction you're holding depends on whether you'll go higher or further. Like if you hold forward, you'll go longer, but you won't go as high. But if you hold back, you'll go much higher, but you won't go as far. And there are certain shortcuts that are super high up above you off a ramp, or some shortcuts that are super far away, so you have to register that and then go for them. And I said, that's 2 mechanics you have to worry about: charging up your jump and which direction you're holding. In a game where charging up spends your fuel, you only have so much fuel, so you can't charge up for every single ramp jump. So there's another thing you have to worry about. Like it very quickly starts to stack up. There's a lot of shit you have to worry about in Riders. Tutorials are crucial, and it feels like some games miss that completely. Yeah. And it's like, as much as, you know, I try and sing Sonic games praises when they are, Sonic kind of has a bad track record of its tutorials. They either are extremely heavy-handed, and like you're forced to do it, like say you pick Team Rose and Heroes, and it's like a whole 5-minute level of tutorials, and you're like, please shoot me. Or you get or Riders where like it gives you incorrect information. They rarely tend to get it right, I find. Which is a shame, because I feel like the 2D games, and like I'd say even like Adventure 1 and 2, did it just fine. They didn't give you a tutorial, but they structured the level design that you would naturally figure it all out yourself. Like, I say, heck, as much as I dog on Forces, even Forces got it right. There's a point where Forces, at the first level, you hit a springboard, so you're sprung up, and you see the lock-on icon appear on an enemy. So even though it hasn't told you can lock onto enemies if you're in the air, because you had to hit the springboard to progress, you learn through your own eyes. Like, the game doesn't tell you can do this, like you spot it yourself. And so you press the jump button, and you bounce into the enemy, and there's an enemy right next to them, and the lock-on will appear there, so you're chain homing attacks. At the end of 3 or 4 of them, there's a item box, and it's like, oh, you can also then learn from there that you can lock onto item boxes and not just enemies. Like, that was a good example of a tutorial done right, because it teaches you it without having to tell you it. It's just you hit the springboard to like start you off, and then you see the lock on, and through curiosity you discover everything else. But it's like Heroes, like holy shit, it's like there's a whole 5-minute level, and it will every 5 seconds grind you to a halt so Omochao can explain to you exactly what the left stick does. Which is, I know what it does because I had to hold the left stick forward to hear you tell me the left stick makes me move. You know? Like, Heroes is extremely heavy-handed on its tutorial to the point it's, like, annoying. Yeah, I love the level design. Yeah, it's the ideal way. Because you don't feel like an idiot then. The moment it stops you and starts telling you everything, you kind of like, does the game just think I'm stupid because I can't do it? And, like, I get it, because, like, it's always awkward anytime I talk about any of this. It's like, I get that, and the mentality it's not as severe as it used to be. It used to be quite strong for a while. This idea that you have to assume that any game you make could be someone's first game, and so there needs to be some kind of, like, buffer zone to help give people a fair chance. But I still think give people a chance to figure it out themselves a little bit more, or make it an option. If you're not confident that you can make this tutorial really engaging, just make it optional. You know, don't make it so you're forced to have everything explained to you. I think even, I don't know if they still do it because I haven't played Pokemon in a while. The Gen 1 remakes of Pokemon, they asked you if you'd played Pokemon before when you started. And if you said yes, they reduced the amount of tutorials you got severely. But if you said no, they would explain a lot more of the basics. And it's like, yeah, that's fine, do that. And I don't know if they still do that because I've been out of touch with Pokemon for a while. The last one I played Base Sun and Moon. I never played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and I haven't played Sword and Shield. I kind of just drifted. I didn't enjoy Gen 6, and I thought Gen 7 was just okay, so I was like, nah, I'm good. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. As I do. But it's like, heck, like, I have another game that did a great tutorial. The first Mega Man X. That was the same deal. That one, you defeated a mini-boss and they dropped you in a ditch. And you had no reason to know about wall jumps at that point. But the enemy lands in a position where there's a slight gap between the enemy and the wall. So eventually, in your curiosity, you'll jump on the corpse of the boss, run around. And because the gap's ever so slight, you'll fall into that gap, but on the way down, touch the wall and spot that X slides. And from there, you'll be like, oh, you can slide down walls, and eventually you get the incentive to press buttons whilst you're on the wall, and lo and behold, suddenly you jump up. And then you're like, oh, you can jump up walls. So without having to tell anything to you, all the pieces were there for you to figure it out yourself, and not get stuck. No, wrong Pokemon's not sure. Yeah, fair enough. To be honest, the only time I touch Pokemon now is ROM hacks and fan games. Because not all of them are great. Not all of them are great, but when you do hit a special one, they're really good. Like, Pokemon Unbound was phenomenal. That was a fan game. That I enjoyed it more than some of the mainline games. It was really well done. Fool's Gold was pretty fun. I played that recently. The difficulty of its post-game is kind of bullshit, but the main game itself I thought was pretty fun. I like the idea, the way Fool's Gold worked, is that all the old Pokemon are back, but all of them have had their types rearranged and have like new designs to represent what their types are. So what was once a fire type might now be a grass type. What was once a normal might be a psychic, things like that. I was going to play Mega Man. To be honest, I would recommend them. The only thing I'd warn you about is that they're old school Capcom hard. All of them. As in, like, you have to accept that you're going to die a lot on your first run. You're gonna have to expect that and get used to that. That you're gonna die a lot, especially in classic Mega Man. The classic, I don't know about 11s, I haven't played it, but classic 1 through 10, all of them are pretty damn challenging in places. And they will happily rip your head off, and like you get hit and you lose a lot of damage, and it feels like you didn't know what to do to avoid that damage. Or like you hit a boss, and it's like even when you hit their weakness, the amount of damage they take really isn't much, and you're like, oh god. And you have limited lives and yada yada. But the X games, Mega Man X1 through to X5, I think, like, at least to me, they're like the peak era of Mega Man. Like, if I was going to recommend any game, I'd say get the MX1 through 5. They're still super tough, but like I said, they're the ones that had like wall riding. They had a bit more expression in power-ups. They were 16-bit instead of 8-bit, so you had a little bit better art style with it. You know, there was just a little bit more here and there. And like if you go through the X games, you get to enjoy X4's PS1 era. Very, very good, I promise, voice acting. That isn't at all a fucking meme, and it's hilariously bad. But if you're up for the challenge, I'd say go for it. It is a rabbit hole, though, I'll warn you now. There's a lot of Mega Man games. If you get into the Mega Man series, eventually you're like, oh, okay, I'll try Battle Network. I'll try the Z games. Oh, there's a follow-up to the Z quadrilogy called ZX. Oh, there's a sequel to ZX. Oh, there's this 3D game called Legends. Oh, Legends has a sequel, and suddenly it keeps on going. Like, it's a good rabbit hole. If you enjoy it, you have a lot of Mega Man to play, you know? Like, you have a lot of content, and all of them are enjoyable, I think. I think the only one that wasn't really my thing was, was it X6? It was either X6 or X7, whichever was the one that went full 3D. But there was one that went full 3D, and that one wasn't my cup of tea, but all the rest were great. But it's like, it's genuinely, there's 11 like original games, which are like the 2D formula. There's 8 X games. As an X, I think, is like the peak of the franchises. Like, I think they're the best of the best. There's the Battle Network series, which are strategy RPGs. If you know what I mean, like, they're almost like tabletop-looking games where you look down on an arena and you place people around and you do things. There's an RPG, which I think was a spin-off from Battle Network. There's the Z games, or the Zero games. There's like 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then there's ZX, which is like the next generation of Zero, which had a sequel. And then there's the 2 Legend games. Unfortunately, Legend 3 got cancelled, and I think will just forever be a remnant of time that will never get Legend 3. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot there. So it's like, if you've ever been interested in Mega Man, if you end up enjoying it, like, it's open season. And what helps is that every single classic Mega Man and every single X game is available on modern platform because of the Legacy collections. You know? So I'll go this route. Also, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I love this track. This is one of the better tracks in the game. It's heavy rock. So it's like, there's a lot of like easy accessibility for the X and for like original and X. They're split into 2 collections each, which is kind of funny because it's like with the X collections, they split it down the middle. So like, the first one has 1 through 4, the second one has 5 through to 8, right? A lot. You know, I just said I thought 1 through 5 was kind of the peak, like the better half of the series. Yeah, following my logic, then you're kind of robbed a little from the second X Legacy collection, because you get 1 good one and 3 not so good ones. Whilst in the first off, you just get 4 bangers. I say that a lot of people dog on X8, but I personally really enjoyed X8 as well. And I think it was because a lot of people weren't too keen on 7, and so just weren't prepared to give 8 a chance. And like, no, 8's terrible as well. And it's like, actually, no. As someone who didn't, you know, had to pick and choose what games he wanted when he was a kid, I picked up X8, and I had a lot of fun with it. And it had a great soundtrack. I said that all the X games have good soundtracks, but X8 is just, it's like chef's kiss, great soundtrack. And the fact that it was like an early 2000s PS2 game that had Latin vocals in the final boss theme, it's like you knew it meant fucking business. Because, you know, they weren't always the easiest to get. Even after Final Fantasy VII started that trend, they weren't the easiest to get. And there's rumours, a lot of rumours, and they've been circulating for a while, that X9 is in development. I do, dude. We're in complete agreement on that one. I genuinely prefer video game music to most modern music. I prefer instrumentals as a normal, so I just gravitated to video game music a whole lot growing up. Don't get me wrong, there are some lyrical video game tracks I absolutely love. Guilty Gear Strive soundtrack is a perfect example of what I mean. That entire soundtrack's a bop and it's only got songs. But yeah, yeah, and the Latin vocals of boss themes, oh yeah, absolutely. I was saying when I was doing the Blue Reflection streams, like, the ultimate box tick for me, it's like no matter how good or bad the game is, the ultimate box tick with the music is have a remix or orchestral version or alternate take version in general of the game's main theme as the final boss theme. And like if you can have like that and Latin vocals on top of it, it's like suddenly we're dealing with art, you know? Even if the game's not great, suddenly we're dealing with an art here. Because Blue Reflection did it. My parents always listened to rock, so I grew up on that. Yeah, that's fair enough. My stepdad's a huge Madness fan. You couldn't tell by my accent, I'm British. My old man's like a huge Madness fan, and so I like also had a lot of that kind of influence growing up. But I just always like growing up with Sonic, especially when Sonic went through a phase from like 2005 to say like 2009. Where all the soundtracks were rock orchestra, and like once you get into rock orchestra, it's hard to like appreciate most other music. I find. Oh shit! Went off the arena. Like rock orchestra is just so it's so good when it's done right. It's amazing. But the Final Fantasy VII remake did rock orchestra for a lot of its runtime, and it was I loved it then. But it's like even Sonic 06, you know, the dreaded 06. Its final boss theme was a rock orchestra remix of the game's main theme song. And it's like, even if that game was like a flat like 1 out of 10 for a lot of people, it's like, no. For me, it's at least a 2 because it did that. Like, it gets an extra point for that. Remix the main theme with the old... Yeah, exactly. Like, I just think that's like the ultimate like power move. Like, it's almost like screaming how much confidence you have in your own soundtrack. To be like, no, we know we nailed the main theme, so here's it again. You know? I mean, it honestly doesn't matter what the game is. I don't think there's a situation where it doesn't work. I think it always has a place. In fact, that even FromSoft got the memo with that, and like Elden Ring's final boss theme is a remix of the game's main theme. It's like, you know, like I was like, yes, they've got it. Even they know it's like the best move. And Sonic games used to be great with that. You'd either get like a full-on rock concert for the final boss theme, or you'd get a remix of the game's main theme. But they used to be really on point with it, and it was starting with the Colors era that started to fade away. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's basically all the games starting from Sonic Colors to like now. So that's Lost World, Generations, Forces. Like all of them I felt like lost that touch a little bit. Which is not to say that they're bad games. I still enjoy them for what they are. It's just they weren't the same. Exactly. Oh, we haven't really been paying attention to any of these races. Where are we? Okay, I think we're in the lead. I hope we're still in the lead. Oh, this might be the last race. Okay, yeah, we are winning. Good. Alright, one more, and then we got the standard tracks, because I said there's 3 tracks that aren't on any Grand Prix, unfortunately. Clockwork, Haunted Castle, Wisp Circuit. Interesting. And Sky Road. Didn't we already do Sky Road? Yeah. So what? Why didn't they include some of the final 3 tracks in these Grand Prix if they had to reuse a couple of them? So I was sitting there, it's like, I recognise Whiff Circuit, I'm sure we did that before. Yeah, it was like one of the first races we did. Anyway. Since the last one, I'll play as my main Tails again.
I'm so excited.
Actually, what bonus should I give him? This is what I was on about, so you could do this online as well. You could drag a power up, so like, get an automatic line start boost, increase boost power. Like, every team could do that. So you had a bit more diversity at the start of a race online. Drill! Drill's the closest you're going to get to the bullet bill. But I genuinely, in all the years I've like played this on and off, I've never got it. I've never seen it. Because I think like the distance between you and first has to be really wide for it to even like debate giving it to you. Binding of Isaac did that the final boss of its DLC. I still need to get back into that. Well, I stopped with was it Afterbirth Plus? Like, I know they did another expansion that came out like vaguely recently, like in the past like 6 months to a year or so, that I heard was pretty strong as well, even if it was brutally hard. And it's like, I loved that when I first went through it. I didn't 100% it, but I 100%ed it to my satisfaction, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't get one of every item, but I did beat every single major boss on hard mode. And so that for me was like, I'm satisfied with it. But even that kind of burnt me out. It took a long time to get there. And I think if I ever went back to it, I'd start completely fresh, which I know doesn't make sense considering I just said I burnt out of it. But I'd start completely fresh and do it on live stream, and then just make it like a background project where it's like maybe like once a week we do a Binding of Isaac stream and just try and push things back more. But if I'm gonna try and get into a roguelike game more like nowadays, to be honest, I'd probably just get Hades. On the amount of good things I've heard about Hades, it's like I think I'll probably just get that. It's absurdly hard. Yeah. From what I heard, the final DLC has some like really obscene challenges at points that like teeter on just unfair, even with the build setups and whatnot, which isn't too much of a deterrent for me. Like, I don't mind it being super tough as long as it feels fair. Like, it can be as hard as it wants as long as failure makes me think it was my fault. If failure makes me think it's the game's fault, something's wrong. Okay, I will squeeze in that. I'm going to wait until we're around this corner before I hit the boost. I don't know if there's going to be a random edge. Okay, now I'll go for it. Oh, I picked the perfect time for that. Yeah, fuck your Quake. It's like going invincible just as a blue shell comes. Yeah, fuck you. Because like, yeah, at some point, because I know Hades got released on PlayStation, I want to do Hades. So I've heard nothing but praise for that game, and I deliberately haven't looked into it too much because like, from what I've heard, it's pretty story driven as well. So it's like I don't want to be spoiled on anything. I've just heard it's fucking phenomenal. I'm like, okay, I like them, so I'll give it a go. So Hades is godlike, it's such a good game. Yeah, that's the general consensus I always hear from people, that the game's like a must get. And it's like, I'll get it eventually. I just made sure I avoided any spoilers the moment I heard it was kind of story driven. So I was like, okay, it will just be something to have fun exploring. And because I'm a smaller streamer, I'm in a there's one of the few things that is kind of lucky by being a smaller streamer. I don't have to worry so much about random trolls breaking into the stream and trying to spoil shit. Like, when I did the whole Danganronpa trilogy, there was only one instance across the entire trilogy that someone tried to spoil shit for me. And they got insta-banned, so it was just like, I managed to get away with it. But it's like, if I played it for a much bigger audience sort of thing, there would have been a lot more people that would have just said, oh, this person's the killer, this person does that, this person's gonna die, shit like that. So because I'm smaller, in that sense, I could probably dive into Hades and not have to worry about some rando hopping in and being like, hey, have you seen this? Hey, have you got that? Hey, do you know this happens? That kind of, like, really annoying shit. Like, I don't mind... I'm not as against backseating as some streamers are, as long as I'm genuinely struggling or stuck or don't understand something. If I kind of know what I'm going, or only just got to a puzzle, and then someone's telling me, hey, did you know? Then I'm like, come on, let me figure it out. But I know like some streamers are like horrendously against it. And it's like, I can understand, like, maybe it's because they've got such a bigger audience, it's like they're probably used to hearing it all the time that you do just get worn down by people always trying to tell you what to do. But at the same time, there's always a part of me that thinks like, if you're stuck on a section, all the entertainment the average viewer's getting is just your struggle. And that can only last so long. And so like, when does it get to a point where it's like, it'd be wise to actually get some help or listen to someone, instead of just being, nope, don't figure out, don't want any backseaters, you know? I'll read that in a sec. Got a text from a friend. Yeah, I started streaming in January, and the first games I did was a blind playthrough of the whole Danganronpa trilogy. I say that. Danganronpa 1 and 2 I did the entire thing blind. Danganronpa V3 still annoyingly has a recording block on the PS4 version. So literally it disables broadcasts and recording of first party and inbuilt software the moment you get to chapter 2 in that game. So I had to do like write-up reviews of every chapter instead, just so I could cover what my end experience was. And it was the same with the spin-off Ultra Despair Girls. That game only has the prologue streamable. After that, the entire game's blocked. Which is frustrating, so I wanted to stream those games but couldn't. Especially after how much I enjoyed the first two.
Okay, let's race.
It's the same reason why there are some games I don't stream outright as much as I'd love to. Like, I don't stream any of the Yakuza games because 90% of them have the final chapter blocked off. So I straight up wouldn't be able to stream them until I get my own like software and setup and whatnot. Which I'd like to at some point, but I'm not a big enough I'm not big enough at all on this channel to, start making money off anything, so I can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy equipment and whatnot, because, I don't have the money to burn to do that. I have to worry about other stuff. It is a goal, though. It is a goal. I'm not expecting to be, like, the second coming of whatever big new, like, YouTuber is, like, ruling the world right this second. But I'd love to be able to be in a position where I can make money off this, because if I can make money off streams, I'm going to be honest, it's the way of the world, unfortunately. I'd love to be like, oh, I'd love to do it all for free, but it's the way the world works, unfortunately. If I could, I would stream far more often, because I try and aim for like 4 or 5 days a week. I would make it like 6 on lockdown, and make it the day I get off is the same day each week. If I was making money off it, because I'd be able to make that commitment. I'd be able to make more time for it. But because I don't make a penny off any of this, then like that's out of my hands, Yeah, I hate it. V3 is. I'll be honest, I was left bitter with V3. Like, I enjoyed it, but I was kind of like with at the end of it. Like, my favorite of the 3 is Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, and it's almost entirely because I love that game's cast. They had a near perfect home run with that game's cast. If it wasn't for Teru and the bratty banana head kid that I always forget the name of because she's that interesting, the traditional dancer kid. I'd never remember her name. Like, if it wasn't for those two, they would have a completely perfect cast. Because the rest of the cast, all of them are great. Mahiro's fun. Gundam is a godsend. He's one of my all-time favorite characters nowadays. Nagito, you love to hate him. Even Hajime was more interesting than Naegi from the first game. Chiaki was a more interesting, like, detective/sidekick buddy character. As much as Kyoko was super cool, like, in the first game, you know what I mean? Like, she was kind of more interesting. Like, the whole cast was great. Ibuki Miyoda was a treat. She's such a fantastic human being. But, like, Pekka's and, like, Fuyuhiko's story arc was amazing. Like, Danganronpa 2 had it fucking down to a thing. It was literally, like, it was every single bloke but Teru was great. And every single girl minus the traditional dancer was great. Like, they had it so near perfect. Whilst with V3, I liked Kaito, I liked Maki, I liked Tsumugi until the ending. And I liked Kaede. I didn't care for Suichi, like, at all throughout most of the game. I got his character development and whatnot, but I just never really clicked with him. And it's like, I got they tried to have the whole love to hate him with, what was his name? Supreme Leader. Because I'm a liar, that prick. But he didn't work the same way Nagito did for me. Like, he wasn't as interesting to me. He was just annoying a lot of the time. Yeah, DR1 is my favourite setting, 2 is my favourite cast, and V3 is just decent all around. Yeah, I get that. I mentioned, that was like one of the only things I criticised with 2, is that where you're in the school for the whole of the first game, and all the windows are like blocked off, you can't see the daylight at any point, the game was naturally more horrific and oppressive. Like, it was naturally more uncomfortable, especially because, you know, schools... There's a reason why people joke about schools after dark being terrifying, because it's all narrow, claustrophobic corridors and rooms, schools, really. And so putting it in that kind of setting, it just did it really effectively at being kind of scary in that sense. But 2 just had the better everything else. Well, actually, I take that back. V3 had the best Hangman's Gambit, because it was the least annoying Hangman's Gambit. But yeah, V3 felt like it overplayed its hand. V3, I compared it at the time to the Saw movie franchise, where the biggest problem I had with the Saw films is that every single film felt like they needed to be bigger. Kokichi, yeah, that was that bitch, Kokichi. Is that every single game felt like they had to be bigger and have a more dramatic twist than the last. And it was okay for the earlier films, but you get to like Saw 4 and the twists become nonsensical and too much to the point that you switch off. And I felt like Danganronpa had the same problem. Danganronpa 2's big twists are bigger than Danganronpa 1's big twists. So V3 wanted to be bigger than 2, but 2's twists were already kind of on the line of what I was prepared to believe. If that makes sense, that's all we want prepared to take. Whilst V3 oversteered it, and so some of its twists are so ridiculous, you switch off entirely, because they're just too much. The entire fucking killing game is a made-up fictional world, and you're all brainwashed actors. It's like, what? And especially because when I was doing my chapter by chapter review, I genuinely got super angry at the last chapter of V3 because I get attached very easily to characters. I am extremely empathetic for fictional characters. It happens all the time in my live streams. I always get emotional at the end of games when they've got a good cast because it has it. I thought this should have ended at the anime. Yeah, I get that. I will defend one thing from V3, but I will get to that. Let me finish my point, and then I'll get to what I'll defend on V3. But because I get attached to characters so much and get connected with them, to have a twist like none of them are real, none of their emotions are real, not even Maki's crush on Kaito is real in the context of Danganronpa, that just got under my skin so much. Because I was like, I cried for Kaede when she died, and now you're going to tell me it was all bullshit. You know? And I know, like, the ending, like the actual epilogue, and this is what I'll defend, the epilogue is damage control to the nth degree. The entire epilogue felt like one giant effort to damage control everything. Because what do? They imply that Tsumugi lied. They imply that she was... Because she calls herself the cosplay copycat criminal. Copycat? What was she copying then? If the whole Danganronpa trilogy, according to her, was fake, what was she copying? She was lying. She was copying the actual things. She just structured it in a TV show to give people something to watch. Which, if she was lying about that, well, she is proven to be able to cosplay as anyone she likes. In those scenes in case 6, where like they make out that all the characters are like actually assholes, or like were involved in the killing game and knew about it, that could have also been faked. That could have also been a complete lie. Especially because one of the very first things you see when you start the game is Kaede having like a mic, like a big helmet on her head, sort of like she's in a pod, like she's from Danganronpa 2. So like, they left things there to control it and make it more manageable. I said it during it, so I genuinely feel like they could continue from V3 without it having like too many repercussions because of the damage control they did at the end. But at the same time, I'm aware that the director himself has come out and said that V3 isn't canon and is based on an alternate timeline. So that's not going to happen. If they ever do a Danganronpa 4, they will probably not even bring up the V3's cast, which I think will be a shame for the final 3 survivors, because I was curious what became of them after the events of the game. As much as I didn't care for magic, as much as I didn't care for her, I still cared for Maki. I want to see what happened to her. V3's ending could have been more impactful if it just picked an idea and stuck with it. Yeah, I get that, because it was like, it felt like they made Chapter 6, and it wasn't going to have an epilogue originally. This is just me theory crafting here, so take it with a grain of salt. It felt like originally it wasn't going to have an epilogue, right? It was just going to end on Chapter 6 of, it was all fake, you win by saying fuck you to the audience, and it's over. The test audience watched it or played through it, hated it. And then the developers went, okay, fine, we need to do something. So quickly strung together that little epilogue bit that we saw, which damage controls everything. As in, that's entirely theory crafting. That might not be what happened at all. It's just, to me, that would make sense why it became the way it was then, if that's the case, you know? Like, if that was what it was, then, like, that was how it would be. Thank you! I'm 23, we're talking about Danganronpa again, so I can't fucking help it. But then saying that, a lot of people also dog on Ultra Despair Girls, and I loved it. Chapter 3 was kind of terrible, but I loved it. I don't mind tragic endings, but my problem with V3 is that I was tired of them. Because Danganronpa 1 had a bittersweet ending of you don't know what's next outside those doors, and it could be more dangerous than not. And Danganronpa 2 had a bittersweet ending of you managed to save the day and stop Junko, and all of your friends, minus Chiaki, are still alive, but they're in a coma, so there was a bit of sweetness. So it's like when it got to the third one, I was like, this is the end of a trilogy. It would be nice to have some closure, you know, to actually have a more positive ending, or to wrap things up in a more concrete way. So the fact it doesn't, and it just does the bittersweet ending again by none of it was real, but maybe your emotions were real. Ha ha ha! Good luck in the real world, fuckers! And they just kick them out. I was like it felt more like a kick in the teeth. It's like, this is the end of the trilogy. This was your opportunity to try and wrap things up, and I was left with more questions. I don't mind tragic endings or like bittersweet endings here and there. Just when you've got a whole series built on them, have it mean something at the end. You know, and it felt like it didn't. It felt like it was just, I just wasted my time by the time I reached the end of V3. And I say all this, I still enjoyed it. I don't think that's the biggest, I still enjoyed it, I just felt it was the weakest of the trilogy. But to go back to the other thing, I actually really liked Ultra Despair Girls. I enjoyed it as a quirky, different Danganronpa game, and to be honest, it still felt like a Danganronpa game. It was still very hope versus despair for the whole thing. Just in a different context, in a different playstyle. I actually thought it felt more Danganronpa than V3. The only thing of it I wasn't keen on was some of the handlings of its themings, because it has a central theming. It has a very big and in-your-face central theming of the repercussions of child abuse. All of the villains have, well, except the liar Monica, have gone through. I'll say it now. She's kind of gone through her own abuse. I'll take that back a little bit, one thing at a time. All of them had suffered a different kind of child abuse, and so the game, each chapter was exploring their abuse. It's just chapter 3 where they decided they wanted to talk about sexual abuse. There is a lot of other ways I feel like they could have handled it than how they did. I'll tell you right now, the touchy machine thing that you have to do, I wasn't too keen on that. I mean, the visuals didn't bother me at all, to be honest. Yeah, it was only like when not the animated cutscenes, like the 3D CG animated cutscenes, where it looked a little wonky, because like the lip syncing was kind of weird, although they looked a bit blocky. But other than that, I thought it looked fine. It really didn't bother me at all. And it's the same engine they're using, like the Danganronpa team's using for their next game, Raincode. Yeah, it looks a bit cleaner in Raincode. It's going to be on new hardware, but it's the same engine. So it's like, don't fix what's not broke, you know. But other than that, I loved Ultra Despair. I actually, because I've 100%, because I'm a little bit of like a platinum, like a trophy hunter in my spare time, but not like super serious. I've 100%ed everything in the first 2 games, and I plan. Some of the struggles with characters like Mikan. Yeah, I love Mikan. Mikan is like, as much as she's not my favorite of the lot, if I had to pick the waifu character, it'd be Mikan every day of the week, because I don't want to protect her. Throughout the entirety of Danganronpa 2, every single time she spoke up, I just wanted to protect her. And the writers just attacked her, it felt like, a lot of the times. And I felt like she was done really dirty in her case 3. I thought there was a lot they could have done with her. I actually thought it would have been more interesting, hear me out, if they did the whole thing where it's like everything's pointing towards Mikan, then at the last second, something turned and it ended up being someone else. Because I wanted it to be character development for Mikan, that when she's absolutely pushed into a corner and everyone thinks it's her, she just loses. She doesn't lose the plot completely, but she finally snaps back and starts to stand up for herself a little bit and gets angry at everyone else. I wanted her to have some character development of her growing a backbone, and the fact that it was robbed from her for despair disease was like, you know. But then Danganronpa and Case 3 is like, name an unhealthier couple. But I love Mikan. Like I said, for the whole game, I just wanted Mikan to I just wanted to care for me. I wanted to protect her. And the fact that there was a lot of implication in the earlier half of Chapter 3, before things kick off, that she actually had the big crush on Hajime, it's like, I wanted that to go somewhere. Like, she kind of half admits, you know, like, she half passes out in in the hospital bed with Hajime. When Hajime says, "What are you doing?" what's the first thing she says? "Sorry, did you want to be on top?" She doesn't panic that they were sharing a bed. Her first thought was, did we sleep together wrong? Because she liked Hajime. Using a character hint at despair was smart, but why Mika? Yeah! To be honest, like, if I had to rewrite Chapter 3, I think it would have been more... Actually, no, I take that back, because I was about to say Nekomaru, but then we'd have to rewrite Chapter 4, and I don't want to do that, because I like Chapter 4. But no, make it... I would have made it Soda. Made Soda the killer, because it would have, to an extent, made sense. He could have used the headsets and the videos to have eyes on where everyone is, to manipulate the situation to get it how he wanted. And he could have just straight up lied about how they worked. And to be honest, I think that would have made Sonya happier. And then the final 5, yeah, it would have had one more girl, so, you know, Hajime would have been a little bit more gender outnumbered, but who cares about that? But it, like, you know, it would have been Mika in the final 5, and he could have, like all the characters, like... I don't know, like, that's like it's the only bugbear of the whole trilogy I have, is that every Case 3 has to kill someone who either had a good potential of character development or was in the middle of their character development. Like, they murdered Taka straight up in the middle of his character development for no good reason in the first game. The traditional dancer was just starting to go through some kind of character development, and they kill her. And then the fucking V3 pissed me off the most. V3 genuinely pissed me off the most, because, like, they had a good kill setup, a good first half to its Case 3. Figuring it out, it was Korekiyo, was interesting, but what went wrong? What completely fell apart? The Korekiyo had to kill again. The Korekiyo had to kill again, and who did he kill? Someone who was, like, having great character development and was making a lot of headway with them. Someone who was learning to not just hate men for the sake of it, and learning to actually know when to step back and listen to people, and know when to stop being so pushy on things, and, you know, let people figure things out for themselves. She's finally finding development. What do? Fucking Korekiyo wanted to show off a seesaw trick. That's what fucking happened. No, like, a lot of people say Dangan 2's third trial is the worst of the series. I personally think V3 is the worst in the series for its Case 3. Because at least in the second game, it makes sense in retrospect with what it was teasing. You know? Like, it pissed me off that it was Mikan of all characters that had to go, and Ibuki had to die as well, just after trying to recover from using Mahiro and Peko. But at least, like, in retrospect, like, okay, that makes sense. V3's Chapter 3, the first half is genuinely pretty decent, and the setup to Angie's kill is really well done. Like, you can see it coming, but it's still well done. It's everything after Angie's kill is so horrendously bullshit that it just completely dragged the whole thing down, and I was so tired of it by the time I finished it. And if you want to do, like, the whole, maybe it was foreshadowing things, okay, let's take a step back. V3 is the horniest game in the series, and I say this even being aware of how Mikan is, right? And not only is it super horny, they have references to inbred relationships up the wazoo for no good reason, and then have Korekiyo's character, which is kind of a straight up insult to victims, because he's saying, hey, if you're a victim of sexual abuse, which he is, you'll just turn into a psycho killer who will, like, obsessively love the sibling that like abused him. And I was just like, that's so wrong. It's so horrible. And I'm laughing, but it's because I'm trying not to get angry at it again. I'm trying to, because I'm trying not to get annoyed at it again. But I say that V3 is also the only game to have a Case 4 I didn't like. Case 4 genuinely drained the life out of me. The moment I realized Kokichi was going to be heavily involved, I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this, am I? And then lo and behold, what happens? Oh yeah, we got destroyed there. Let's put us up here. What happens? Well, although she wasn't a great character, she was still enjoyable enough because she was funny. They kill off Mew and fucking Gonta, as much as another character that I didn't necessarily like, but at least he wasn't the worst. It was the killer and he didn't even know he was the killer. So you're miserable for the whole thing because you're having to explain to him exactly how this happened and why he ended up doing the bad thing. And it's like, it's just so, it's such a draining, miserable fucking trial. I think that's part of the reason why I didn't click with V3 as much. It's literally half the game's trials I wasn't keen on. Like, I hated 6, I hated 3, and I hated 4. And like 1 was okay, but I feel like I would have flipped it. I was annoyed that they got cold shoulder on having a female pro tag so quickly, and just resorted back to the standard pro tag of the game of generic middle of the road bloke with like nothing necessarily like outlandish characteristic traits. They tried a bit harder with Suichi, and like that it still was like that. Whilst Kaede was very much her own person from start to finish. I kind of wished case 1 it was Suichi was the killer instead, and they flipped the script on that one. I think it would have been more enjoyable. It wouldn't have been as dramatic of a twist, but it would have been more enjoyable. I've never hated a character more than I did with Kokichi treating Gonta like that. Also have to leave. Yeah, no worries, dude. But it's like that. Just, yeah, like Kokichi. Also, I get what they're trying to do with Kokichi. Also, they wanted to try and make it sort of like Nagito of that game, but it just didn't work. And I didn't love to hate him, I just hated him. So realistically, look, they've done them all. It should unlock us like a Grand Prix 6 or something, but no, they're not going to do that. Yeah, and these are just the same. So if we want to show off these tracks, which I do, we've got to go to exhibition races. You know, I'll make them standard races. We don't have teammates, just to show them off. We did do everything, didn't we? Yeah. Okay, so we got Thunder Deck, Dark Arsenal, and Turbine Loop. So now I'll just do these as standard races.
So pumped to do this.
And afterwards we'll do some story stuff as well. Happy birthday again. Yeah, thanks, dude. And see you around. Now, I can't do it consistently. You know, some people can just pop for like forever. I can't do it at all. I kind of can, just not for long. I wish these were in a Grand Prix because these are some of the better tracks in the game. Look at the side for a second. This is actually the final boss track. In the main story, you only do this track once, and it's the very last race. So this is supposed to be like a harder concept. That's why there's lots of lasers here, there, and everywhere. But like the track's a lot bigger and a lot more dynamic. There's a lot more going on. Oh, it's safe to go for the middle.
What a great design!
So we would have seen their racer if we had hit whoever's in first.
I feel like a jumping bee.
That Blaze? Wait till we're on the straight and see if we can throw it. Ugh. Gotcha. Sorry, Blaze, love you. I wish you'd come back in another game. The ideal player cast for me is like they want to make a game. Like I don't want to go crazy with playable characters because that's too much development hassle. But it's like if they do another Sonic game that has loads of playable characters, Sonic, Shadow, Silver, Blaze, Omega, I'm happy. Or if not Omega, replace him with Eggman sort of thing. But like just and then there's diversity because Shadow can be like the aggressive fighter while still having speed. Silver can be more puzzly platformy whilst having his abilities. Sonic can be more standard affair. And Blaze could be a mix-up character, especially with her abilities. I didn't look at the butt. There's a little light. Oh god. There's a little light above that shortcut. And if it's green, it means it's safe to go. If it's yellow, it's about to shock down. If it's red, it's obviously danger. Can I squeeze straight through the middle of this? Yeah! Okay, Quake, you can't stop me. Also, we're in expert mode again. Like I said, the AI always gets stuck on itself on expert a little bit. And I think that's something I'll need to do at some point. Before Frontier actually comes out, start talking about what I actually want to see out of Frontiers. Considering as well, because they've been kind of hinting that it's going to be the start of a new era. But they're officially moving away from the Colors era, which opens up the doors to new writing styles, new gameplay styles, new everything. Basically, it's not a soft reboot, but it's a similar idea, if that makes sense. Sort of like how Colors ended the Dark era, that was the last one for it, was Black Knight, where they were more serious stories and whatnot. So it's like, if they are starting it again, and like the biggest one for me is literally just have slightly like more, not like adult mature, but just slightly more grown up writing. Have the writing, like, have, you know, actually have like stakes in it, you know, because that was the thing I missed from the Dark era. You get to like the end of the game and like the final fight has stakes. Whether it be some giant god monster sort of thing, it was still like, if you lose, you're in serious trouble here. Whilst nowadays, all the Sonic games have been, if you lose, well, it's Eggman. Who cares? Like, it's Eggman's machine, and like, there's loads of other people, and it's like, well, if you didn't win, someone else would, so what does it matter? Yeah, it's like, it's that kind of feeling about all of them. Like, there's no, like, grandiose anymore. And so I want that in. Also, I want playable characters. We are 16 years removed from Sonic 06. I think it's okay to have other playable characters again. You know? I think it's okay to have other playable characters other than just Sonic in a main game again. It was a very long time ago. Sonic 06 is literally older than the anniversary it represented. I think we can have playable characters again. I just wanted to go crazy with it. And the fact it's going to be open world, that genuinely gets me excited. Cautiously optimistic as well. Because it's, you know, I was getting tired of like the 2.5D approach. Especially in Forces, because the level design was so boring for most of it. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I don't hate Forces, I just think it's a very nothing game. Some of the story beats annoyed me. Like, Tails being scared of Chaos, I think baffled everyone, considering he beat Chaos, a stronger version of Chaos, single-handedly in the original. But then, whatever. You know, that was annoying, but whatever. They just did it for the sake of the plot. But it's like... But other than that, it's like, Forces really didn't bother me that much. I think it was just meh. It just existed. I played through it, beat it, and went, okay, I'm done, and moved on. Which, if anything, is probably worse. I found it kind of just okay. Like, at least when it was like 06, or, you know, the Wii U Boom game. Savok, that's a terrible line to say. At least when it was them, they were so glitchy and all over the place. There was this weird, like, almost quirky fun you could have with breaking them. Was it less Boom? Because Boom is very fucking boring. Whilst 06, you can really mess with it in a lot of ways and just have some crazy shenanigans. And it's more annoying with 06. I say not annoying, more like interesting to look back on, because Project 06, the PC version, is fixing all of its problems, and lo and behold, it's actually a really good game. And it's like, wow, if this game actually got like the extra development time it needed, it would have been on point. It would have been on point with some of the best. But it just never got to have that chance. It would have been the genuine adventure free, and it just never had the chance. Oh, I hit Shadow. Oh, I didn't realise I was in first. I guess Metal Sonic took that shortcut and got fucked. I hit Shadow again, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just bullying Shadow the Hedgehog. Well, that's the thing. Has it been long enough for Shadow the Hedgehog 2? for us to actually try again at like having a Shadow the Hedgehog centric game. Because I think it could work. It was just it didn't work the first time. Like it had a lot. It was the epitome of well. Oh, so it's still kind of worth taking the shortcut anyway. What the fuck? You still make it. You just lose your rings. You're more vulnerable to damage, and you're bigger stall. If I hit Shadow again. And because they kind of opened the door to that idea in Forces, but they didn't do much with it. What I mean is that they did DLC. I think I'm going to regret this. Okay, that's how it should go. Because they had Shadow Playable, but you played 99% the same as Sonic. It was just like you had a homing attack chain sort of thing to keep that aggressive side of it. When I want to be like throwing Chaos Spheres, I want to be able to meet and do Chaos Blast like in Shadow. You know, like I feel like there's options. Oh god, they're super cool. Yeah, they super cool option me from that one. Oh, I didn't hit Eggman. Uh oh. Please, Eggman, hit that. Thank you. Please turn off, please turn off, please turn off, please turn off. Still made it. So that you can kind of Magoo it. Q. So if you hear me like sniffling every now and then, I think I'm like just barely catching a cold. Nice. Don't mind loot.
I'm so excited.
Looks like it's gonna rain. Actually, I think it is raining outside. I was looking out my window. It looks very faint, but I think it's raining. Yeah, give me a tutorial on more team stuff when I'm doing solo races. Oh, a bit of Final Fortress music. I'll fuck up the boost. Okay. One of the trophies in this game I don't think I'm ever going to get is if you get the Void power-up, it's catch a projectile with Void and then shoot, then return the sender and hit the person who shot it at you. It's like, it's just so hyper-specific. It's not happening. Oh, sorry, Sonic. I guess you're the one I'm going to bully. You're the hedgehog of the race. Although it was Shadow, now it's Sonic. We'll do another race with Sales. We'll start bullying Silver. Oh Jesus, I'm right at the back of the pack here. And this is a short race as well, so I need to get on this. There's Drill. That was risky, but I had to go for it. Bitch. He's so far away from the front still. Ooh, first place can enjoy that quake. But this racetrack's actually kind of short compared to the other ones. Right, third. Well, both Metal and Sonic are doing their own. They're having a fucking rematch to Stardust Speedway up front. I'm gonna get second. That's fine. Oh, we got a lot of pods. Let's spend these. This is how you unlock extra parts. You gamble. You don't, basically, there's no microtransactions. They just give you this shit. You just have to actually play. There's no microtransactions. It's just this. So it's more harmless. Let's say Legendary Maria. So that sound effect's very loud. There's a trophy for getting every single vehicle part, so I'm optimistic I'll get them all eventually. Infinity, Jade Ghost, Legendary Shroud Stabilizer. The Savage Engine. Aeon Engine. Jeez, guys, we got a lot of these. Horns. The horns I don't care for at all. I never use it. I think it's just if you press the power up button, you don't have a power up. You press the horn instead. Game. Can you give me something? Oh. Yeah, I was say that took a while, that might be. Nice. The longer it waits, usually the better it tends to be. Oh. The hyper engine, damn. It's also worth saying I don't know if I'll be streaming tomorrow. I might be spending time with family tomorrow. I'll probably spend time with family this evening as well, but you know what I mean, like I might... We'll see. I don't think I'll be streaming tomorrow. So I've been heartened to just give it the weekend and then come back on Monday, but we'll see. And then on Monday start, start Blue Reflection 2, because I brought it. So if I go to online, I doubt we'll be able to get a game. I'll be very surprised if we get a single game. Let's just find one. So we'll try and find a room to put us in. And it won't. Because I said no one's on it anymore because the network of this game was awful. One person! Oh my... Sure, dude. Oh my god, there are people on here. Oh my days. If you've got the game, feel free to fucking hop in. Seriously. Feel free to hop in. If any of you are up for a game, feel free to just dive in. I will welcome you. Are we just gonna do a 1v1? Sonic v Tails. Uh-oh. 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 Let's wait, turns out he's like a secret god and he's gonna destroy me. There's no way they're gonna do a 1v1, are they? And there's no way he's going to stay in it if we... Oh, is he? Uh-oh. I didn't even... Oh, we're doing rocket races. I mean, everyone's got rockets. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any crossplay in this game. I think that would have helped. I think if there was crossplay, that could have helped a lot. Oh, we've got an AI team. Okay, not the end of the world. We've got big and... Oh, God, I've got two powerhouses. Ugh. Oh, no, okay, we do have a full set. I don't know where the other player is. Oh, there he is.
Whoa, these guys are tough.
See, we're moving slow because we're not at max speed.
Hey, a little assistance, please.
So we're not on expert difficulty, so we move a little slower. Oh, it's a mirror track as well. I didn't even register that. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. It looked like I was expecting this bit to be first. I got muddled on the order of things.
Oh yeah, baby. Gotcha. Oopsie daisy. Anyone? Can I be of assistance?
I was going to pass it away, and I saw Silver next. I was like, okay, hang on a minute. I don't know what this track's a reference to. I know like almost, if not every single track in this game is a reference to some part of Sonic's lineage, but this is the only one that's kind of avoiding me. I don't know what this track might be a reference to. Yeah, I was insane thinking this was a mirror track. Like, that makes perfect sense to me now I'm seeing it. I'm like, what? Oh, well. I kind of feel bad for that other dude. There's an online player somewhere amidst all that. And he seems to be struggling a little bit.
Anyone? Can I be of assistance?
I think what doesn't help, because this is Rocket Race, there's no, like, catch-up tools for that Sonic player. So he's just got to keep on shooting and hope. Like, it's a lot more skill reliant. Like, he hasn't got anything to help him out with. That might be an idea for the next Mario Kart. But online races, have gimmick races where you can only use one particular weapon, so it's more balanced. Yeah, it wouldn't be as crazy, but it'd just be as an alternate idea, you know? Don't make it replace the original, hell no. Just an alternate game mode. It's like, you can only use red shells, or you can only use speed boosts. Things like that. Just to have like a bit of diversity in it. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I think this is pretty much secured first. And now there's a 2-minute time limit for every other player to cross. But my whole team took the top 3, so oops. I feel bad for him. If we got a full lobby, I think it would have been more chaos. Does he pass? He's not on there. The other dude's not even on there. That's unfortunate.
Well, this is humbling.
And I pressed that one. I pressed that. You get a hell of a lot more coins or credits even if you do online. I'm glad we managed to get a game, but at the same time I doubt this guy's going to stay. I'll be very surprised if he does. Oh, we can't skip this, because another thing that was not so appreciated by online, that you can't skip any of this. Go green team! Oh, he came last. Oh, I'm sorry, Sonic dude. I imagine that was just some kid who just got the game and went online and wasn't sure what to expect. I'm sorry. If he doesn't stay, I get it. Yeah, he fucked off. He's like, nah. And rightly so. But hey, online race is finished. 1. Yeah, we're on the board. I used to play it on the PS4 version, but my stats were wiped when I upgraded it to PS5. Not that I mind, because I didn't do much. But now, after all that, let's show you what happens if you try and do hard mode on any of the story mode races, and why it's like utter bullshit. It's genuinely annoyingly tough. It's only 2 teams now in this story mode race, and it's on hard, so it's, you know, it's slightly slower, but it's still, like, you know, supposed to be manageable. You know, it should be fine. There's no way we'll get 4th, 5th, and 6th, even after giving our best effort, or no matter how much of a distance we make, they're always like right on our ass. And we got our rocket stolen by Yoma Chow. Damn. We're not, Tails, don't say that. But there's a trophy for beating every single event in hard mode, and it's like, I don't know if I can be bothered, because some of this is kind of bullshit. Damn, I was kind of aiming for Amy, but she moved out of the way. Alright, now it's starting insanity of trying to get another ultimate before the end of this lap. What the fuck are you trying to do to me?
I'm sunk if I don't get a skip boost.
That's it. Now they've got All-Star.
Got trouble. Ultimate trouble.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping for like a long shot. Nice. If we can get second, third, and fourth, we might be fine. We might win overall, even if we couldn't catch up the chat. But look at the time difference, Jesus. Oh! It shouldn't have been that close. We won it, but it shouldn't have been that close. That's what I mean. You have to do that for every single one. Like, I'm good. But yeah, I'll show off all the challenge stuff.
This is gonna be awesome.
Like the drift challenge and whatnot. And the easy way of doing the drift challenge to give it more time. Yep. You have to drift. If you get the red side of them, however, you get a point multiplier. But you have to be drifting through them to get the points. And you get more time as well. So what you do is just do this. If you hit the post, you get nothing. So instead of drifting all the time, you just do this. As I still hit the post on that one. And yeah, you won't get any speed boost from the drift boost, so you have to be wary of that. For the later ones, you might have to like drift a little bit on some of them just to try and get a bit of a speed boost. But as a whole, you just do this. So you can just drive safely and get all the points without having to worry about hitting the pole. It makes it infinitely easier, I assure you. If you want to get all of the max stars and like finish it properly, this will save your life. Ooh, just be careful not to hit things. So I still didn't get it. But you get the gist. So you got almost the whole way there in one go. That's infinitely more manageable than just trying to do it. Like, trying to do it the way they want you to, which is never stop drifting. That one's just get... what, you can only collect rings whilst drifting? Or something, you get the key for it, but you have to collect rings as many as possible. The survival race, whoever's dead last gets kicked out at the end of each lap. Where's the traffic attack? Yeah, there's that, which is where there's a bunch of vehicles and you have to avoid them and make as much distance as possible. Target, you have a bunch of rockets all the time, and you have a bunch of targets as you race across, and you have to break as many as possible. Egg Pawn Assault is there's a bunch of robots constantly on it, and like it's a race, but you can destroy them if you hit them with any weaponry. So it's like a battle race. I think that's all of them, of the unique race types. This is a great track. It's small, and like just more of a background piece, but it does what it needs to, and it's fun for it. Just listen. And then final showdown. The final race is there, where you do Thunder Deck. Oh, the battle races. These are the actual proper battle races. This is the last thing, where it's literally, you're racing, but you can just, but it's all against egg pawns, and you can destroy them whilst you're racing, but it's still a legit race. And then the final challenges are up here, which, they actually aren't that bad for final challenges. But it could have been way worse. Let's spend these mod pods. want to see that trophy pop. Like, hey, you got one of everything, and it's not going to happen. What am I missing, actually? Let's make that my end goal, my end piece for this stream. So we are kind of burning out of what I wanted to show off.
I'm revved up and ready to roll.
Okay, he's still missing a lot. Okay, good to know. Great start. Tails I know is kitted out. Oh, it's going to load every time. I think Knuckles has everything as well. Yep. She's missing a few parts. Oh god, I'm still going to be here for a while. Michelle's missing a lot. Okay, like 5 pieces. You can get to listen to this amazing track though. A remix of Green Light Ride, which is a Crush 40 song, because Crush 40 actually came back for this, which is amazing, and I hope it's a sign of things to come. I said everyone, like a lot of old Sonic composers came back for this, and it was amazing because of it. Silver's all done, that's amazing. Let's kick back on Silver. Let's give him the full gold deck then. Nice. What he deserves, the king.
Time to race.
She's missing a lot.
Alright, let's get started.
I heard that it's like the game has when you're getting collectibles, it has a bias for what team you use, but I'm not sure if that's true. Like the generator, like it gives you more for what team you use, like, or I say like tends to give you what your team you use more often, but I genuinely don't know if that's even remotely true. I just remember hearing about it. Because like some of these characters I've never used once, and they've got loads missing because of it. So it's like it would make sense.
Let's get the show on the road.
Oh, Eggman's super kitted out. Where is that one piece I thought was like called the Maria piece? Hang on.
Time to race.
Yeah, Maria's boon. This part of the track I'll shut up for a second though. This part of the track's amazing. I'm gonna be like this throughout every Sonic game I cover on this channel, for the record. If they actually start remastering or adding old games from the classic collection, I'm gonna be like this through all of them. I will be singing along as well at some point as well. Especially if we go for like Adventure or Heroes. I'm absolutely gonna sing This Machine if we go through Heroes. So I love that song. I'm absolutely gonna sing Catch Me If You Can. If Zero Gravity comes out at some point. I'm absolutely gonna go Endless Possibility if Unleashed it, you know? Like, these songs are so significant to my childhood. Like, Crush 40 was like my band I grew up with. So anytime I like listen to their music, I always hum along. But I think, so I'll just check the last of these characters. I think it was just Zavok and we needed to check. Moving on. Got the strength we need, and we're feeling strong. You know, let's just You can customize as well. There's a lot of customization options as well. It's a fun game. I just wish the multiplayer servers were more looked after than what we got. You can turn tutorials on to give you more of a chance. But I'll leave it there. I think we've seen every single... Yeah, I think we've seen every single tip, so that's fine. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I know this was a shorter-ish stream, but it's just a little thing I wanted to do as like an extra for my birthday. And I really was in the mood to play this, and here we are. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Next time we meet, it should be Blue Reflection, but it depends if I get the itch to stream something else in the weekend. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Listen to some Sonic music. If you haven't before, give it a try. You might surprise yourself. Dreams of an Absolution is great. This Machine is great. Chosen One is great. Live and Learn, City Escape, Open Your Heart, they're all iconic. The entire Black Knight soundtrack is Chef's Kiss. It's amazing. Just give it a go. You might surprise yourself.